This is a BBC. This is a BBC. This is BBC. Take him out as a gunner. We're talking
Everything,
about
everywhere.
the British
What?
broadcasting channel.
That's what you're
giggling.
That's
yeah?
what I thought. That's why I was
You're
laughing. Yep. Everything, everywhere, all at once. I finally watched it.
Finally. Yeah, it took you a while.
Yeah, it took me a while.
It only took it winning like 11 Oscars for you to be like,
I
all
watched
right,
it before the
fine, I'll give it a
Oscars.
shot.
I watched it before the Oscars.
How do you want to do this?
Well,
you want to
do
go
the
into
casting,
how
do the casting and whatnot.
All right. So this is a very beautiful 2022 release, standing at 2 hours and 19 minutes. Could use some editing, but there's no editing, so take that. Although it won for editing, which is hilarious. Directors and writers it is. Because it's good editing, but it could have been shorter.
That's my one complaint
Easily.
is that it's like
it's long.
Does not need to be this long. Anyways, do you think?
Directors and writers, Daniel Kwan, award-winning directors and writing. So they're one for direction and they're one for screenplay. Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. The limited cast, we're talking about award-winning Michelle Yeoh, Academy Award nominated Stephanie Hugh, award-winning Jamie Lee Curtis, award-winning Ki-Hugh Kwang, James Hong plays Gong Gong, and that's kind of it. I mean, Jenny Slate's in it for a little bit, a nice little cameo. There's a lot of security guards that are kicking, fighting, using buttplug.
That was weird. That was
See, there's a lot going on in here. This movie should not make sense,
and it kind of doesn't.
But
it kind of does too. It's a strange. So here's okay. Just to get the negative out of the way right from the gates, because there's a lot more positives and negatives about this movie. I didn't love it as much as everybody else, but I did like it a lot, and it doesn't need to be that long. It kind of lost me when it did that break, and then it's like the end of this. Like it was kind of the end of, I guess, Act 2, whatever.
They do 3 chapters.
Yeah, that third chapter was like
everything, everywhere, and then all.
I was kind of like, oh man, and then it just kind of was just spinning its wheels, showing off editing, right? Which is fine, but it kind of was like, I was like, I don't really need. I'll be honest with you, but
that's fair.
But the first like 2/3 of it, glued.
I am a lover of this film, and much like everyone else, again, 11 Academy Award nominations, and Best Picture, Best Actress, Best Original Screenplay, Best Directing, Best Editing, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress. It got 10 British Film Academy Award nominations. It got 13 Critic Choice Movie nominations. It won 5 of those. 8 Independent Spirit Award nominations. 6 Golden Globe Awards. SAG Awards, Writers Guild of America Awards, Directors Guild of America Awards, Producers Guild of America Awards. It turned into a giant movement that we're still in. This got released in February and still was of last year and still managed to make an entire campaign and stay in theaters up until today. We're a year later. That's unheard of since we were kids. You remember when movies stayed in theaters?
Yeah. Titanic was in it for a long time.
And that's kind of once it got its awards and accolades. There you go. I like that word better. It's hard to deny it, and people keep showing up for it.
So let me just branch off with how I started about the negative stuff. On the other side, like that was all I had to say with negative stuff. Really, I am so happy that this movie has won all these awards. I'm so happy that it's beloved by so many. I'm so happy that it's so successful because it's so unique, so well made, and just so crazy. It's like it really goes to show that creativity still wins. Like you don't have to keep rehashing things. And we love our superhero movies, but you don't have to be a superhero movie blockbuster to sell millions. You just have to be but if you have a fresh idea and you have good writing and good editing and good acting, great cast, look what you can do. The story you finish what you're saying. I'll come back.
I was just gonna say, like, as we shit on one set of superhero movies, I was gonna say this was the greatest Phase 4 MCU flick because this is what Multiverse of Madness should have been.
God, could you imagine if this was just Marvel paint over it?
Oh my gosh! Right. Especially with Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
because it was poignant, it was smart, it had Matrix influences, it had Kung Fu influences, it had a depth and a story in the center about a mother and a daughter, but around that had so many other interpretations and ideas and understandings of you're this person here, but in another parallel universe, you're this version of yourself, and this best version of yourself, and this different version of yourself, and this uglier version of yourself, and this monster version of yourself. And at any given moment, depending on how you set yourself up, you can access that version of yourself to this prime universe, dimension, multiverse. It was insane, insane,
The
amazing.
amount of themes that they packed into one movie is wild. And it's
Yes.
like it's a mess. It's really messy, but it makes sense at the same time. Like it's messy, but it's kind of organized. And it's a weird thing. It's silly but touching. It's
Mhm.
messy but organized and clean. It's funny but it's dramatic. It's
I don't think it's
weird.
ever
It's
clean. And they own a laundromat. Like that's the
yeah.
dirtiest thing about it.
Yeah.
It kind of understands that it's broken, but it has to be broken for it to work.
Yeah.
And it has like weird references of like they were trying to make a Ratatouille reference, and it turned into
Raccacoonie?
Raccacoonie, and then
Right.
they like doubled down on that joke. Like
And they kept going.
it has Family Guy influences where like they just abruptly cut to what the running gag would be, and then you see the running gag, and you can't help but laugh, right?
I'm
Like
like, why is this raccoon here? And then she jumps on it. Like it's just I was like, what am I watching right now?
it's so good.
The
Hot
hot
dog
dog
fingers,
fingers.
amazing.
And I thought it was a throwaway, but then like they start squirting ketchup and mustard, and it's like they're like putting it in each other's mouths. I'm like, what? What? What
The
is?
googly eyes, it instantly understands the level of seriousness about life, but the love of goofiness in that same life, right?
Yeah,
It, this is a movie that essentially says love will save the day, and then you laugh at that because it's stupid compared to what's happening. Because Stephanie Hughes' character Joy is a
she's
menace,
great.
but she's
She's
amazing
great.
in it.
Yeah.
But it only takes a mother's eyes to see like, oh no, love will save this, and then she becomes like, I don't know if we're gonna give the plot because we're all over the place like this movie, but she essentially just decides I'm gonna ignore what everyone told me and I'm gonna save my daughter using love. And amazing message, hard to pull off, but
I do want to talk about Ki Hugh Kwan, who from the Goonies,
yes,
which is crazy, but he actually stopped acting for a long time because there was no roles for Asian men that he thought was like, and I don't want to be stereotyped, but so he stopped acting for a while. He came back. Did he come back for this?
like he had been
I
trying to
think
come back
yeah.
into it, but something
So
between the Daniels saw him and they're like, you're our dude. And
yeah,
again,
so
they were right.
this is like his big comeback, and it's like, man, and you see all his selfies at the Oscars and stuff. This guy's just like
Yes.
so happy. It's so cute. He's just like out there, just and you
And so
can't help.
genuine.
Yeah,
Every speech he has given on his award collections, because the man has the most amount of ice you'll ever see in a award season. But every speech is completely different and completely sincere. Just like, I appreciate this moment. I appreciate where I started. I can't believe I'm here now, but I'm going to accept it, revel in it, and you can do it. He has constantly looked to the camera and any award show and been like, "You can be where I am. You cannot give up on your dream. Look at me. I started out as a child actor, short round, from the Indiana Jones Temple of Doom,
yeah.
but I'm back again, and now like full tears, and you sincere about it every time. It's one of those amazing full circle type of moments.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just key. If you go to Michelle Yeoh, who's been in the industry for 20 plus years,
Long time. Yeah.
consistently working. I mean, I think her first American job was her co-star was Jackie Chan, and it was like an action flick, right? Like I gotta look up what movie that was. But
She was in Crouching Tiger as well, right? Yes.
like she's had amazing roles,
Yes.
but to be recognized at this level
Yes.
at this age is
Yes.
kind of unheard of in Hollywood for this type of movie. Like this is not a movie that gets nominated for Oscars.
No, it's yeah, but I don't. It just this one just hit, man. It's just like it's hard to explain. It's funny because before I watched it, obviously there was like people like, oh, you should watch this. It's good. It's all I ever said was it's good. Nobody ever explained it to me, and I realized that they can't really spoil things because it's just so insane.
Yeah, once
Like
you
to explain this movie to somebody, this bottle cap episode is going to be funny. It's going to be weird because we can't really explain it to you. It's
yeah, I just told you like hot.
there's
I couldn't tell you like hot dog fingers. I couldn't tell you like
No,
kung fu.
no, I
I
didn't
couldn't
make
tell you butt plugs. I couldn't tell you any of this. I was just like
the butt plug awards.
butt plug awards. I couldn't tell you cookies. I couldn't tell you lip
Googly
balm,
eyes.
googly eye. Like all these things just don't make sense in the realm of it. But I kept telling you like you gotta watch this.
Fanny packs.
You gotta watch this. Gong gong.
Yeah.
I can tell you all that stuff.
Taxes. Taxes. It's because it was like the mechanics of this world are explained throughout the movie loosely. It's like, oh yeah, you can do this and you slingshot to this, but then there's all the other complications for it, and it's to it. And then Michelle Yeoh's character is special because she can, I don't know, she can pick up the different versions of herself
Yeah,
easier than nobody else. I don't know. It's weird. It's to explain it takes a long time.
we got a couple more minutes. She's not even special till she realizes how special she is. She's explained that you're so boring and normal. You feel that everything that gives you the most access to everyone else who has achieved greatness. Each version of you that has been successful is more attainable because you haven't achieved as much as. So it's like me coming to you and be like, you're the worst version of yourself, but you can now connect to the other versions of your greatness.
I loved that line. You are so unbelievably bad at everything that you're just you're good.
That makes you perfect to save everything, right?
Yeah.
And essentially that just motivates her to become the best version of herself, save the universe.
Well, save her daughter. Or reconnect with her daughter, right? Like that's kind of the heart of it is. There's a lot of stuff. And there's also a thing where an angle that like there's the generational gap angle, there's the mother-daughter angle. There's also the angle where there's a lot of parenthood individuality stuff in this as well, but there's also the part where the macho man didn't save the day. It was the good husband that did. Saved his day. So that was kind of cool too, because he does the kung fu master usually wins everything, but he just won it by being a husband who was present too, right? So
and like loving and
goofy.
Googly eyes, like
googly eyes. Well, he's trying to feel that was. I thought that was kind of silly, but then you kind of realize that he's just trying to see
the good in everything.
He's trying to connect to his wife desperately, who's very like strictly business, and he's trying to show that there's fun to be had here. What's the point of all this if we can't have some fun? Let me put some googly eyes on some things because it's fun. It's funny. It's light. It's like we got to laugh a little bit, right?
And that's why they're kind of an amazing pairing, because she's the one that's kind of holding it all together, right? Like the movie starts with just seeing her bogged down with her life. Like laundry's everywhere, like all of her tax receipts are everywhere, and she's like, I got to get this done. We have to like figure out how to not pay the government all this money that they think we owe. And she's like, and her father now lives with them. Her daughter's estranged. The laundromat that they own is not doing great, but they're still promoting a party because it's the New Year's. Like everything's happening in her life right now, funny enough. And she can't really see the forest from the trees.
And the way that intro is directed and cut is so frantic. It had me like, it was just like hard, right, left, and everything's happening. And there's like people running around, and every time she turns around there's somebody else trying to talk to her, and I was like, this is like stressful. I love it. It's so well done, right? It really sets the tone, and the movie just moves. I said the movie's a little long, and I still stand by that, but at the same time it moves at a breakneck pace. It's just like boom, this happens, it doesn't really slow down, even though so that's why when that first ending comes, that hard cut, it's like it could end here.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
I'd be actually satisfied. And then they have a whole other hour still, which is worth it. But it's like it doesn't really need to be an hour. But
they could have used the MCU model, and this could have been two parts, and could have got the second part a year later to be like, what happened in this? Yeah. I will say it does slow down, and it kind of slows down anytime Joy gets to talk to her mother in kind of the other type of worlds, because Joy's taking her time with how powerful she is, and she finally gets someone to explain like how she got to this point. Everything Bagel's an amazing scene, but like one of my favorite scenes was the rocks.
And the rocks that's right. You're right. That's when everything stops.
There's no sound. You're reading subtitles, and what comes from that is some of the sweetest and funniest jokes in it too, right? Yeah. Like it's a movie where you really see how the directors and writers threw everything in it, including the kitchen sink. And it builds to like an amazing final battle where only Michelle Yeoh could fight that. The actress that she's been and everything that she's been training for makes sense to this type of role where she thought she was told she was the worst version of herself, but it turned out she's the best because the ways that she ends up fighting and then overtaking everyone, like
Yeah, she takes on everybody.
from when they're trapped in that office to like the fight up the stairs and like the whole robot, like there's so many things are happening.
70% of the movie takes place in that office. That office building, which is crazy. Like, when you stop and think about it, it's like, wow, that's like the whole movie's in this office building. But then they're jumping dimensions and stuff. But you're right. That's where it kind of started to grate on me, because it's like, it'll sound bad, but it kind of like she makes amends with her daughter, then she makes amends with her husband, then she makes amends with Jamie Lee Curtis character, then she makes amends with her daughter, and it's like one at a time. It's like, you could have done this throughout the movie. You didn't do it all right at the end. But I mean, it's hard to criticize a movie that's been so handsomely rewarded, right? Or awarded.
And still raking it in, right? Like the fact that I could go see this in the theaters again, and I might. Like I just appreciate it. I just, as a film buff, as someone that loves theater, and like when I say theater, going to the movies for that experience, this is such a popcorn type of movie where like if you have basically 3 hours to sit in front of a screen, this is such a fun one to do it to, because when you get to see these things happen, and you only get to see this for the first time once, but to see these things explode on the screen, like all the costumes that Joy gets to wear, Joy's first intro when she's fighting all the cops, and the way like she does a pile driver to one of the cops and they explode into graffiti.
Yeah, that's right.
She turns into Elvis at one point, like she blows heads off. Like it's beautiful, it's crazy, it doesn't make sense, it's amazing, it's magic. Like it literally wrinkles your brain because you're like, I've never seen this in a movie. Yeah. What? How is this happening in a movie? I like this movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's crazy, and even if you don't like it, you have to recognize how unique and different it is, and that in itself should be
celebrated.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for, because everybody always cries about remakes and more superhero movies, and same old. This is something brand new.
Well, I can't wait for them to do a reboot of this movie.
Yeah, this is gonna happen. Al Pacino in it.
Well, you need an all white cast for this.
Yeah, you need all white. Yeah, that's it. You have to. So we rate them on a 1 to 6 rating. 6 being the best, 1 being the worst. We haven't done this in a while. She's lovely is one thing, but
she's very lovely.
How many bottle caps do you give this?
This is a 5 bottle cap for me. This is near flawless. This is almost a flawless victory.
I was gonna say 4.5, but I'll round up and do 5.
Why? Just do 4.5.
No.
Don't get peer pressured into 5 because I use 5.
You can't make me.
The whole point of us having a podcast was to have different opinions and then exchange them, not have the same opinion.
So I'm gonna do 4 3/4.
How do you have a 3/4 cap?
Just to spite you.
3/4 cap? All right. That sounds like its own segment. Let's do 3/4 caps.
3/4 caps. I like that. That's a nice ring to it.
3/4 cap.
That's our band. 3/4 caps. You heard the 3/4 caps new single? It's called Hot Dog Fingers. And that one didn't land. Damn.
Nah, you should have hit me with the everything bagel, man. I haven't been all in that.
Oh, everything bagel was good. Hot Dog Fingers had me laughing though. When they were like, it's because when they were fighting and then they shoved each other's mouths. I was like, what is this? And then
she plays the pianos. She plays the pianos with her feet because she can't use her hands. It makes so much sense.
And they're lovers in that universe. It's so it's weird.
If anyone's ever seen Community, it reminds me of the episode of Random Chaos Theory where they roll the dice and they see different dimensions, and in that dimension everything plays out different. Like I love quantum shows physics? Or movies that like understand if it's quantum physics or just understanding the world that I'm building can change like that, and I care about these characters enough to give them a whole backstory that has nothing to do with this.
Well, yeah, that's what we didn't even mention. That's what this movie's based on. Is like, you have this path, and every single decision you make creates a new route, and it's like to jump to their other
versions of themselves.
Yeah, their variants, their versions. They have to do something ridiculous. Like in the moment, it's like, okay, well, to get to this one, you have to, I don't know, pee your pants. It's like, what?
And then put your shoes on backwards. The one that threw me off was like, I have to paper cut between all 5. I was like, that's where I was like, but like, it would have to be something that weird, right? At one point, he has to eat lip balm and then like untuck his shirt, and then it becomes like a Karate Master. Yeah, it's
yeah.
I love this movie. This movie's great.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's crazy.
I just want to give a shout out to Super Cop 1992.
Oh, don't worry, Evelyn. It's organic.